What's up, everybody? Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Elite Dangerous. When we left off in the last episode, we were doing trying to get in good with the mob, essentially. I'm going to put that on hold for a minute, mainly because there was actually a really good point brought up in the comments of my last video, which was that materials is probably a bigger deal than reputation at the moment, because in the 3.0... I think it's the 3.0, the new update that they're working on, they're going to change how missions are done, and you can actually choose to, ooh, is that an Orca? It's like an Orca. It's a cool looking ship. But basically you can actually choose what kind of rewards you get from missions, and one of them being reputation with factions. So we'll have an easier time of gaining reputation in the newer update, and it's probably a better idea to bulk up on supplies. Now, that said, we're actually leaving the system. I'm going to try and go to another one. I don't have any system data on it, but it is an extraction-based, whatchamacallit? An extraction-based economy. So I'm hoping that there will be some resource extraction sites in this other system that's like one jump away. It's close by. Oh, come on. Some of you might be wondering, well, why do that when you just mentioned that mats for engineers are more important? Well, twofold. One, it's not as glamorous, it's not as entertaining to go look for mats, because as far as I know, I didn't look for one of them. One of them is like you have to buy them or something, I forget. But the one that I did look up, you have to basically go to different places and look at signal sources and find one that has the right kind of signal source. You drop in there, and I guess then you find stuff. I wasn't real clear on some of that as to how that actually works. Wow, conflict zones out the wazoo, though. So not exactly what I was expecting. I don't really want to. If I was going to do conflict zones, I might as well just stick in the last system and do for the Mafia. So that's not really what I wanted to do. Let me poke around a little bit and see what I can find out here. Okay, so I found a system not too far that has a couple of metal-rich rings, so we should get some resource extraction sites, and it's a couple jumps away. Now, I might cut this episode up a little bit choppily, if that's a word. It may end up choppy. The reason being, I have had a slew of technical issues over the weekend. I wasn't recording, but it was still... I had quite a bit of problems with my computer. Enough that I'm actually considering looking at my budget and finding out I can afford to get a new one. For those of you that may not be aware, I don't know that I've ever actually said so. Technically speaking, my PC is about 7 years old. I bought a stock HP a long time ago, and I basically gutted it, and I took all the power unit, graphics card, RAM, hard drives, pretty much everything out of it and put custom stuff in, so that's why it's lasted me this long. But it's still a 7-year-old motherboard and a 7-year-old CPU and stuff, so it's starting to have some issues here and there. And I've been band-aiding it for a while, because quite frankly, I'm not really in a good financial spot to just drop, you know, $1,500 or something on a PC or more. And I can't see spending the money when it's not actually going to at least upgrade you a little bit. With the way technology gets outrun by itself, it seems kind of inefficient to buy anything that's not some form of upgrade. So, yeah, I had 3 different blue screens over the weekend, all with 3 different error codes, so that was fun. It's not like the same problem. And I cleaned it with like an air duster, blew all the dust out of it, because I don't do that enough as much as I should. I know better, I just don't do it. I don't know what I was waiting for. I wasn't fuel scooping, and I'm not mass locked, so I'm not really sure what I was waiting for there. But yeah, so there's that. I cleaned it all out. I tried to finally update. I had like 6 months worth of Windows updates that I had deferred and kept telling it to go away. Because I thought that Windows was breaking a couple of my programs. Turns out there's just some compatibility stuff as far as I had to re-download the updated versions of a couple of the programs so that it would work with the newer version. That might be part of the problem, because one of the issues I ran into the error code says it could be faulty hardware, it could be driver related. So there is an element of it could actually be... Where did I picked up marker. I don't know why it's not telling me where I'm going. It was this one, I think. Yeah, Metal Ridge. Alright, that was weird. So that should be over this way, right? I think. Yeah, there we go. Okay, heading that way. Wow, that's a ways away. Alrighty. Are there any stations over there? So we do have one station here. It's really close to the star. What are you telling me to slow down for? We got a ways to go. This is the one we're going for. There is... Nope, that's a landing place, not an actual base. So of course the base is like light seconds away. I almost said light years, but that's not really accurate. Alright, so we do have a terminal, or a station here to go to, so that's good. So yeah, if this episode seems really out of sorts, or not as much action stuff, more talking, not chopped up enough, more choppy than normal, it's lemonade out of lemon situation at the moment. I'm trying not to do too much before pausing the videos, because when I pause them, it completes the file, and if the system were to crash while I was in the middle of filming it, I would lose whatever progress that is. Speaking of which, now seems like a good time to do that. Alrighty, so we're here. This is a low extraction site, unfortunately. Everything that I found was either low or hazardous, and I don't really feel like putting up with anything without the security guys backing me up today. So we're unfortunately relegated to low. Scan detected. And we're already getting a scanned. Wow, that's unexpected. Whoa, watch where you're flying. Jeez. Alright. So there's already a dropship here. So that's cool. Let's go ahead and deploy our fighter.
Okay, Commander. Releasing the fighter.
We'll get him to engage at will. Oh, he's already attacking. Did I run into something? Someone run into me, or did someone just shoot me? A little unclear on what just happened. But so yeah, if I sound like I'm in a mood or something, it was because pretty much. But oh hey, come on now! Oh, almost had him. I take back the comment about the whole I take back the comment about the whole low thing. We've got a dropship, a clipper. I think there was another dropship in there. So that's kind of cool. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Can he... Oh, he's clean. What the heck is he scanning me for? That turd. I thought he was wanted. Clippers that are scanning you are generally wanted. Whatever. So yeah, if I seem kind of like out of sorts or a little bit grumpy, it's pretty much because my entire morning, this is now 4 in the afternoon before I ever got to my recordings. I normally am recording by now, and almost done, and so I don't feel like I have much of my day left to record like I'm supposed to, because most of it was spent on technical stuff and things that are not fun to spend your morning on. On a positive note, I have 2 positive notes though, thankfully. Also should have double checked this person who was wanted. I've been doing that a lot lately. On one positive note, I did use, I forget what program it is, but I did use a cloning mirror imaging program that I did actually manage to get my primary operating system drive cloned onto a different drive, so if something happened unexpectedly, yeah, I could at least keep my... Oh, I could at least move my OS to another drive on a different machine. Wait, just 2 Torval shields? Weird. Okay. So yeah, I could actually move it. So that put me a little bit more relaxed, because then if something happens, I'm not completely up a creek. Because I really think a lot of the issues are going to end up being with drivers and system stuff and like the motherboard and so I don't think it's with the actual OS. If it's if it's hardware, I don't think it's with the actual drive is what I'm meaning. I think if it's anything, it's going to be motherboards, processors, stuff like that that I never was able to upgrade. So I backed up my main operating system, so I felt a little more relaxed in that sense. The other positive note is I mentioned it in my Inspiration series episode, but I was going to throw it out this week, or in this episode as well. I don't know why I'm scanning him, he's not wanted. I'm talking and not paying attention, basically. But we did actually break 10,000 subscribers, which is pretty freaking awesome. So thank you all. A big shout out to all you guys for making that happen, because that's amazing. I am probably going to, well, all things considered, I hope I'm going to be doing some form of live stream at some point, or some kind of live stream special, maybe a well, I could do a video, but I usually don't stream very often, so I kind of like keeping that as my specialty event type things, is streaming for an event. And 10,000 subs is definitely an event for me, so I'm thinking I will probably do some form of live stream. As to what that stream actually entails, I have literally no idea. I say that because I've done a lot of streams that I feel like I've kind of done a lot of the same things every time I stream. Like, I've done Space Engineers, I've done Elite streams. I've thought about doing like a Stationeers one, since that's the newest series on my channel at the moment. It actually, I got a recommendation though, or an idea, and I really hadn't thought of it before, but there was a comment on my Inspiration episode about doing an Inspiration episode, a live stream, like top 3 builds of all time, and kind of thoroughly walking through them and having fun and stuff like that. Had not really thought about that. That is an interesting idea. I'm not really sure how the logistics would work and stuff like that, but it's something I haven't done before, so it's something I'm considering. But, so I say that to say, you guys let me know what your thoughts are. I was gonna do a whole separate video with a poll or something, but I'm kind of thinking, just with the way everything's been going and some of the issues that have been pulling at my attention lately, it would probably be more efficient just to throw it out there in each of my episodes and see what everybody's kind of thinking. So that's what I'm doing. So let me know what you guys think about that and your ideas and thoughts for what we could do for a special type thing. So that's kind of the 2 good news pieces, but yeah, I definitely had a rough morning with the technical issues, and it was a lot of weird stuff too. It wasn't just crashes. I've been having a lot of crashes, but then it was like I updated all of my Windows stuff, but then it was like I have this weird thing. I changed headphones a while back. I don't know if I actually noted that to anybody or not. I think I did. But I changed headphones to a pair of Bluetooths, and normally they're fine. And when I had it paired before, I could just turn them off, turn it back on, and it would say Bluetooth connected, and my headphones were connected to the computer. And the weird part is, ever since I did all my updates and stuff, I don't know if they had changed something in the drivers or not, but now it's like if I connect them, they're fine, but when I turn them off and I turn them back on again, I get this, essentially it's like, it says, like the earphones will say Bluetooth connected, like they're connected. And then when I go to play a video or a game in this case or something like that, it just, there's no sound. And I have to go in and actually like tell the thing to forget it and repair them. And then it works. And I didn't have to do that before, so I don't know what that's about. Had to fight with that for a few minutes this morning. I also, Elite crashed on startup every time I booted it up today. That was fun. And I was about 5 minutes away from just rolling back to the previous version of Windows to remove some of those issues. And on one of the forums I found, they are, by the way, these system guys are crushing these federal dropships, like just melting them. It's amazing. I don't know what they're rolling with, but they are just destroying these guys. I barely have time to even scan them. I mean, I know the dropships aren't the same as the gunships and the assault ships, but still, they're just, like,
I think that's all.
disintegrating these guys. So I'm still looking for more people, it looks like. But yeah, so the other thing, I ended up finding out for the elite one, I don't know what happened. I'm assuming it had something to do with when I updated everything, that something got confused somewhere along the way. But I had to actually move the graphics settings, like the XML files in the app data. I had to actually like move them so that when I booted it up, the game would generate new ones, because apparently that's a thing that happens sometimes. Apparently. I knew this not. So then, as you can see, we ended up here, which at the moment has been okay, but I'm not sure how concerned to be, essentially, about my system. But it was kind of like I was telling a friend of mine that it was like, it's one of those things where if you've been band-aiding something like for a long time because it's older and you're just trying to, you know, kind of like that that car that you have to kick every morning or something, but then it boots up, you know, kind of thing. You know, smack the battery and then the car turns on. That kind of stuff. It's like if you do that long enough, eventually it's kind of one of those questions about, it's not really an if, it's a when kind of thing. So it doesn't really come down to, should I, you know, replace my system? It's more of a, how long do I have to try and build up a little bit more of the funds to get a better one kind of thing. But it's kind of one of those, like, it was a big reminder of, like, even though it's been working fine off and on and only had a crash here and there every now and again, it doesn't really mean that it doesn't need to be upgraded kind of thing. It doesn't really mean that it's just totally fine. So that's something that I'm thinking about doing anyway. It's just basically a matter of how panicked should I be kind of thing. Do I need to go run out and do something, or, you know, do I have time to kind of formulate a plan? I think I do. You know, this system's been good to me. She's a good old system, and she's been holding up really well. Can't talk today. Really well. To the point that I usually have a lot of people asking me in my inspiration series, how do you get Space Engineers to run so smooth and stuff like that? And you know, they probably would be very shocked to find out that I'm running a 7-year-old rig. But it's really just because I kept upgrading it. I'd add newer graphics cards, more RAM, stuff like that. But at this point in the game, I have basically outrun what I can do. The motherboard cannot support pretty much anything else at this point. I've basically tapped it out. And so with that, the next thing to do when something breaks is to replace it. The one thing I'm thinking about doing, though, in terms of cost, is I may look into... I've never actually built my own from the ground up. Like I said before, I bought a stock one and gutted it, basically, and upgraded all the parts, but like the motherboard, the CPUs, the cooling systems, all that stuff I didn't actually mess with. And I'm thinking what I may do is, since most all of the other parts, like the graphics card and the power unit and all that, I think work fine. I don't think there's been any issues with those that I know were issues. Like if they were at fault, I didn't know about it, kind of thing. Although the power unit has concerned me a little bit, because every once in a while I'm wondering if the PSU is going bad, and then that's why it's, you know, something loses a little bit of power, and so as a safety mechanism it cuts off or something. I have considered that, but I don't really know how to confirm that theory. I don't really know how to actually, like, test it, kind of thing. But I'm considering, rather than upgrading my whole entire system, since that would be fairly costly, I'm kind of considering just getting a new tower chassis. Oh, dagnabbit. I was lining up on him, too. Pooh. Oh well. And again, I do apologize if this is a little bit like, you know, what about the game? Why aren't we talking about the game? Stuff like that. I'm honestly just kind of venting a little bit, because even right up to the point till right before I was recording, it was still giving me issues, so I'm still a little perturbed. If you put out, I want to bring that one back. I'm very put out right now. But Yeah, so the thing that I'm wondering about is actually just getting a new chassis tower, like the housing, the case, basically, and getting like a new motherboard, a new CPU, stuff like that. Basically all the things I don't already have upgraded, and then just pulling all of the hard drives and graphics card and other things that I currently have that have been upgraded in my current system and move those over, and then that gives me a bit more, like, I can piecemeal it later and upgrade individual pieces type of thing, is kind of what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking that'll be the lesser of two evils type of thing, is I could probably start upgrading the system little at a time, but I don't have to just go out and completely overhaul and spend a couple grand and you know, all that stuff. The only thing that makes me leery of that is I've never actually done the CPU, motherboard, fans part of building your own computer. Hence, why everything else has been replaced, because I've done everything else. I've never done that one. So, you know, doing the thermal paste stuff for the CPUs and putting the heat sinks on them and all that, I know the theorem, never actually done it. So it has me a little bit uneasy about that aspect of it. But I had a friend of mine that did it, though, I think, and I don't think he had too much trouble with it, so I might end up doing it that way, because honestly, in terms of cost, it does seem to be the best way to do it, because you're only getting what you need to replace, what's really dated, but you're not throwing out these parts that are pretty much, as far as I know, perfectly fine. So, we'll see, but I say I was kind of venting and stuff like that, but ultimately the goal of explaining all that was to tell you guys that if for some reason I post a tweet in the next few weeks that's like, hey guys, no more videos for a while, yeah, something bad happened. Something did not go well, basically. So that's pretty much the PSA I was going for there, was kind of you know, if that happened, and ultimately, that's assuming that you guys actually get to see this. I'm assuming you will, because my system's been holding up pretty well. It's had a few glitches here and there, but if I'm not actively tinkering with it, if I'm not updating stuff, if I'm not doing things, I'm not poking it, basically, it usually holds up pretty good. It's just been lately, every once in a while, I'll be doing something, whether it be an update, whether it be a reinstall, or I've got a lot going on. You know, you have like 7 different windows open with like 3 YouTube videos and a capture card program and a, you know, Premiere running in the background because you're editing stuff while you're listening to music, you know, whatever. When you do a bunch of the, every now and again, then it'll just like, nope, I don't feel like working tonight. So I say that because I have to hope that it will render the videos and it'll take the 3 or 4 hours it takes to render and it won't crash in the between there. Because much like recording, if it crashes in the middle, I gotta do it all over again because it doesn't just partially finish the episode. So, but I'm gonna assume you guys have gotten to the point where you're seeing this video. And if that's true, then that's what this statement was kind of for, was just letting you know I'm having a significant amount of it, a noticeable amount of issues. I'm not panicking at this point, but I'm a little concerned as to Huxley Hot Dog. Oh, I never get tired of these names. Man, these guys are melting these ships. Come on. Oh, you know what? They're novices. I just realized we're in a low zone, so we're getting bigger ships, but they're lower. Yep. That took me way too long to notice. That's what's going on. So you've got high-end security guys with low bounties. That's why they're just melting them. Okay, well that makes sense. That at least makes more sense. Yeah, that's competent. That Python was novice and all that kind of stuff. Man. Not enough. All the security guys are taking up all the slots. We need more bounties guys in here. I'm going to take a quick break just so that this all saves the footage, and then I'm going to come back hopefully with another target and not a bunch of these system guys running around here. Alrighty, so we found another assault ship. I might not even risk scanning him, to be honest. Well, no, I will. Because if I scan him, and it goes down too low, I'll just wing him, and then I'll get the credit for it. Yeah, and see, he's a competent as well, so that's why this has been so simple and easy to do, because I was wondering, I was like, man, I mean, I know my ship is fairly upgraded, but man, these system guys are just crushing them kind of thing. So I was kind of like, what is going on here? But, yeah, that makes more sense. So yeah, as for the Elite side of things, do let me know if you would like to see an Elite live stream or something. As I said, I've done that before. I have done other live streams on Elite, so I'm not sure if I want to do more of the same for something like a 10,000 special. That's fairly a big milestone, or that's a fairly big milestone. I said that backwards. To me anyway. So I might want to do something a little bit more, I don't know, unique, standout-ish, I guess. But I'm open to suggestions from everybody if they're, and it was unable to receive data. I don't know how to use said data. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all this data stuff. I'm assuming it's for engineers or for synthesis, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with that. But I am kind of prioritizing both bounty hunting for overall money, credits, as well as trying to at some point get the materials and stuff like that for the engineers. But I am kind of switching gears from the reputation side just because of the point that was made, and it's a very valid one, that one of the big features in the new 3.0 update is... Whoa, guys, watch where you're going. I know I know you're the system authority vessels, but don't run into me. But yeah, the point that was made about the fact that 3.0 has the whole you can pick reputation as a mission reward and stuff rather than credits, or you can pick credits rather than, that's a very valid point, that it wouldn't take nearly as long being able to focus on reputation gain for mission rewards and stuff like that. So with that in mind, it's a very valid strategy to wait on that. And I'd like to think I could work on getting the whatever it is that you need for the beam lasers for the engineers. I think it's something like a proto heat emitter and candenium, something like that. Cadmium, maybe? That sounds better. Let's go with that. And those, it's one of those, I'd like to say, yeah, I'll go do that off camera and get that up, but honestly, with all the stuff going on in terms of not only my personal life stuff, but in gaming life, there's been a ton of games that have been coming out. I've been playing Monster Hunter, I've been playing Division, I recently got Kingdom Come Deliverance from Gamefly that I want to play. So, in my personal off time, I'm not really focused on Elite. I've been doing it for my channel stuff, but it's kind of been relegated to when I'm recording and such, so I haven't been doing much off-camera stuff. Plus, the other side of that coin is with having technical issues, I kind of don't want to overuse my system more than I really need to, and so it's kind of been a little discouraging to do a lot with it until I get a better handle on how to stabilize it and make it a little more reliable. So, as much as I would like to say, yeah, I'm going to go do all the grinding off camera and I'm going to get all this stuff, I'm pretty sure you guys have watched my Elite series long enough to know that's not going to happen. I can even tell you guys that's what I'm going to do, and then the next episode, well, it didn't really work out that way. I ended up, I just never seem to be able to do much off camera on this game. So, it's not that I can't, it's not that I don't always have the opportunity, it just doesn't seem to work. It's like, I tell myself, I'm going to work on this, and I'm going to have this running in the background, and I end up doing something else. So, as much as I would like to say that, it's probably not going to happen. So, I'm going to be focused on doing that at some point, so that I can get them, but, the reputation gain side of it has definitely took a back burner to the 3.0 update, because it'll probably be a lot more efficient to do it then. Can I get within range of this guy for once, please? Thank you. So I'll probably still be focused on bounty hunting for my episodes at least, or maybe on a day when I actually have more time to do more cuts, so it's not quite as monotonous and it's not so live streamy. This one's a bit more of a talk, no real breaks in the episode kind of thing, because like I said, I was trying to kind of do. Why am I taking so much heat damage? It never used to do that.
Target down. I think that's it, Commander. Scanning for additional threats.
I don't remember my beam lasers ever generating that much heat. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well, I think we're out of time for this episode, so again, I apologize for being kind of strange. It's mostly just a byproduct of trying to do the best that I can with the current circumstances, and so I didn't want to overdo, or I didn't want to make the episodes too long or spend too much time on the computer, because the longer I spend on it, the more it has a chance of crapping out on me while I'm recording. So I was kind of playing it safe this week, until I can get a better handle on if I really need to do something with it. As from what was going on over the weekend, I'm not sure how concerned to be. It may blow over, it may balance itself out, and some of the updates will square it away and get the driver stuff cleared up, and it may have just been stuff trying to overwrite things. I don't know. So it's mostly this week. By next week I should have either a handle on, yep, I'm upgrading it, or I think it's stabilizing, and I'll be looking around. So with that said, I do apologize for the oddity that is this episode, but I hope you all enjoyed anyway. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.